Welcome to the Dream Nation Breakfast Club, where we gather together every single Tuesday. Welcome. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, I am your host, Josh Valentin. Excited to be here with you all. And this Breakfast Club, the Dream Nation Breakfast Club, is brought to you by the Journey Podcast. For those of you who haven't been on the Journey Podcast, you are more than welcome to hop over on wherever podcasts are live streamed. You can pretty much go on there, and excited to be here with you all. If this is your very first time and you're wondering what in the world were you invited to. So basically our community gathered together every single Tuesday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we cover everything centered around personal development, life coaching, things that could essentially make your life better. So the Breakfast Club has been going on for years, and we have so many phenomenal people within our community, and really happy to be here with you all. So no matter where you are tuning in from, if you don't mind, drop a comment. Let us know what city you are representing here this morning. I know we have people who tune in from all over the world. So shout out to those of you who are tuning in from the West Coast. I know on the West Coast it's about 4 a.m. your time. So welcome, everyone. Happy to be here with you all. We're about to get this show on the road. Today, we're going to be covering one of my favorite topics, which is the 12-week year. So welcome to quarter 2 of 2025. I don't know about y'all, but it most certainly feels as if the year is going by super, super fast. So, here we are, quarter 2, April 1st. And I promise you, I won't April Fool's you here today, but we have a value-packed session all in all. So happy to be here. As always, if you would like to engage with us live, by the way, you can hop over to dnbreakfastclub.com, and that will allow you to engage with us live. We have a lot of exciting things happening. And by the way, what I'm going to do, because we are launching quarter 2 as a community. So the first thing I would like for you to do is just kind of reflect on what quarter 1 looked like for you. I know a lot of us, we start out the new year all excited with the New Year resolutions. And, as the weeks go by, as the months go by, what tends to happen is people put those New Year resolutions on the back burner. And what I love about the 12-week year specifically, and why I felt it was timely to basically teach this concept to the community, is because by now, the vast majority of people have pretty much put their dreams on the back burner. They put their goals on the back burner, all of that. And I know that this is definitely a great time to reset. I was reflecting back on my last quarter. Every quarter, I kind of go through a reset, and I was reflecting back on my last quarter and just kind of thinking to myself, okay, how could I have improved? What could I have done differently? And what are some of the milestones that I was able to reach? And you want to set your intention for what you want your quarter 2 to look like. And the beautiful thing about the 12-week year is the fact that it compresses an entire year in just 12 weeks. So in an entire quarter, you're going to push to accomplish what you would normally take an entire year to do, right? So I know you guys are going to get a lot of value. You could actually go over to YouTube, go over to wherever, you can find the information. You can check out the book. The book is phenomenal, by the way. There's 2 authors. One of the authors, if I'm not mistaken, is Brian Moran. And there's also a lot of YouTube clips on just the 12-week year and how it works. So I'm going to be going over, some of that. But we have a lot of value here this morning. And once again, if you don't mind, drop a comment. If you're watching the replay, drop an R, also like, comment, share, tag, all of that stuff. You could also subscribe as well. And I have some value that I'm going to jump straight into. I think we're all good to go on all different platforms. So this morning I was having some technical difficulties, but it's all good. Champions adjust, of course. So let's get this party started, guys. To get us kick-started, I have a few shares. The very first one is to set a goal. Consider a goal you've been working on, or pick a new one. Define the outcome. What would success look like with that specific goal? So I know for many of us, we set these New Year resolutions early in the year, and these New Year resolutions may be, let's just say, to get in shape. The New Year resolutions may be to save a certain amount of money, maybe take a trip throughout the course of the year. But what would success look like after accomplishing whatever that main goal is? You see, with the 12-week year, essentially, you want to focus on 2 to 3 things that you could accomplish over the next 3 months, right? And it's so important to be very crystal clear on what it is that you want, because clarity of intention is power, as we oftentimes hear in the world of personal development. So next, we have in your planner, schedule the activities you need to progress your goal. So one thing that I've learned as well, you hear me say it all the time, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it's essential to make sure that you're actually blocking out time in your calendar. I would say if there's anything that was the number one culprit for not following through on the things that I know that I should have been doing last quarter, it's been not blocking out my calendar. So knowing what I have to do for the next day, but not being intentional about blocking out my calendar specifically. And the reason why that's so important is because most of the things that we have to do, usually they're small things. They're easy to do, but they're easier not to do. And that's where the issue lies, is the fact that, you know, we tend to kind of put these things on the back burner and don't really, set our intention. So, for example, today, do you have an idea of, what it is that you have to do at what specific time? So if it's working out, what exact time are you going to be working out? If it's prospecting in your business, what time are you going to be doing that? If it's writing 10 pages for that new book that you want to release, what does that also look like for you? Okay, so that's something to consider, is actually blocking out time in your calendar. By the way, if you guys can hear me and see me okay, drop a 1 in the comments. I just want to make sure you guys are able to hear me and see me. If you don't mind, drop that comment and that would be amazing. Appreciate you guys. Awesome. All right, ask yourself, what one thing can I do that if done regularly would make a tremendous positive influence in my life? Your goals should reflect your deepest values, your unique talents, and your sense of mission. An effective goal gives meaning and purpose to your everyday life and translates into daily activities. So the interesting thing about the 12-week year is that your days end up becoming your weeks, right? When was the last time you thought about your day like that? When your day becomes your week, what you would normally accomplish in 1 week, you can accomplish in 1 day. And it is possible. And I'm going to kind of walk you guys through how that's possible. Now, here's a really great quote. Happiness, in part, is the fruit of the desire and ability to sacrifice what we want now for what we want eventually. Stephen Covey. Really, really great quote. And I have a few more shares before we jump into today's main topic. And the next one is questions are the answer. Okay. And questions are actually a huge part of the work that I do as a life coach. Oftentimes I kind of go back to questions and ask questions based on whatever it is that I'm dealing with. So I remember hearing a mentor of mine said, he mentioned that the quality of your life is going to be dependent on the quality of questions that you consistently ask yourself. So it is important to kind of reflect on specific questions and ponder certain questions. Well, why is this the way it is? Why do I keep going into a state of self-sabotage? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? How can I get out of this circumstance? How can I do this better? Right? These questions we tend to not really reflect on, but questions are absolutely powerful. So here's a really great quote by Albert Einstein. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. So really great quote by Albert Einstein there. And on the topic of questions, here's a snippet that you guys definitely can benefit from. Questions are the laser of human consciousness. Use their power to cut through any obstacle or challenge. So, for example, you guys may have heard me talk about the mindstorming exercise. And the way the mindstorming exercise is, think about something that you're currently facing. Think about something that maybe is an obstacle in your life that you need to solve. And when it comes to that specific obstacle or problem that you need to solve, imagine if you just reflected on 20 answers or 20 solutions to that problem. So the way the mindstorming exercise works, and I implement it in the work that I do with coaching all the time. It's probably top 3 coaching modalities that I integrate. And the way it works is you pretty much ask yourself the question, whatever it is that you're faced with. So let's say you have to come up with $10,000 by the end of the month, right? What you do is you get a piece of paper, you write down whatever that question or obstacle is that you're dealing with. And let's say it's coming up with $10,000 by the end of April. And you say, okay, how can I come up with this 10 grand? I only have 30 days to pull it off. And your job is to come up with 20 answers and 20 solutions. Now, you can get ideas from other people, but typically the very best ideas come from yourself, right? You know that the answers are within. And what I've learned over the years, and this has actually helped me with a lot of different things. It's helped me reach certain business milestones. It's helped me overcome like a lot of obstacles that I've had in my life. And, just the process of going through 20 different answers or solutions, it forces you to get creative, get innovative, get resourceful, right? So you're there. And what I've discovered is usually after about 13 or 14 answers or solutions, you start to run out of ideas. And the beautiful thing about this specific exercise is that it sort of forces you to think outside of the box. And I've like meditated on different solutions and different answers. And I've gotten answers from God, just prayer, meditation, looking for the next step forward. Sometimes even asking a friend, because it is valuable to get around to thinking that outthinks you. And sometimes seeking counsel or seeking advice or just asking for different ideas from other people, it helps because they're coming from a perspective where they may not have a cognitive bias, or they may not necessarily be approaching it from the lens that you're approaching it with. So that's the value of also getting different insight and different advice from people. So there's so much value in this mindstorming exercise. And I'm telling you, try it with just about anything. And it really is just asking yourself a question and looking and digging deep for the answers. And after about 20 solutions, 20 answers, what you do is you try some of them. You look for the ones that are the best answers or the best solutions, and you put them into practice and you put them on your calendar. So for example, let's just say the solutions you come up with when it comes to figuring out $10,000, right? Let's say you're like, okay, well, I can take on a certain side hustle. Maybe you do like Instacart or Uber or Lyft or something like that. And you figure that out. Or maybe you ask family and friends. Maybe you open up a line of credit. Maybe you put in for that credit card or whatever the case may be, or that loan. And there's so many different alternatives, so many different options. Maybe it's selling some things that you own, right? But there are tons of different answers. And if there's any philosophy that I would recommend that you guys adopt, it's simply this: there is a solution to every problem. There is a solution to every problem. This philosophy has helped me throughout my journey over and over and over again, because what happens is sometimes we get so overwhelmed and anxiety starts to flood in, and we're just thinking that there's no way out. And what I've discovered is having a solution-oriented mindset, and a mindset that there is a solution to every problem. It opens up your mind to possibility. It opens up your mind to becoming resourceful and looking for the answer to whatever it is that you're faced with. So always have that mindset. Whenever you're up against anything, it's essential to always have this mindset that, you know what, I may be a bit confused, I may be a bit lost, but there is a solution to every problem. Okay, so now moving forward, we have today's topic, the 12-week year. Let's jump right into it. So look it up. If you haven't read it, definitely is a great read. And the 12-week year is good for those who've struggled with procrastination, or maybe you felt like you weren't making enough progress. If that's the case, then this session is definitely for you here this morning. And before I jump into the 12-week year, I want to open up my calendar. So Every quarter, what I do is I open up my calendar for complimentary coaching sessions. I typically have a very limited amount of slots that I can take on. There are thousands of people who tune in into the Breakfast Club. So it's very difficult to keep up with every single one, but I open up my Calendly link from time to time where you can block out time on my schedule. Only commit to it if you can follow through on booking a session. It's my gift back to the community. So what I'll do is I'll drop my Calendly link for you guys. And if you don't see it on Instagram for whatever reason, I'll most certainly post it up later, or you can DM me the word coach. So DM me the word coach. I'd be more than happy to send you over that link. That way you can have it. But yes, if you guys would like to just hop on, maybe you're looking for a reset, you're looking to take things to the next level in this quarter, my recommendation is take advantage of our time together. So it most certainly will be of value to you. I can assure you that we've had lots of people from our community over the years who I've met with, and definitely one of the most rewarding aspects of my journey has been, just offering these complimentary coaching sessions to our community. So let's see here. Okay, perfect. So let's jump into today's topic, the 12-week year. All right. Now, what is the 12-week year? Okay. Most people set annual goals, but the problem is that we tend to procrastinate, right? And again, it's easy to do, but easier not to do. We feel like we have plenty of time, so we don't take massive action until it's too late. Now, I remember learning in the world of personal development, there's something called the Parkinson's effect. And the way the Parkinson's effect works is usually as human beings, what we tend to do is put things off to the very last minute. Okay, so we put things off to the very last minute. And for example, when I was in college, I don't know about y'all, how many of you could relate, but when I was in college, I would have these assignments. I'd have these papers that I'd have to write, 10-page, 15, 20-page papers. And for whatever reason, I'd have weeks and weeks, sometimes even months to complete this paper. But no, for whatever reason, Josh Valentin operates best under pressure. And I'm not sure how many of you can relate to that. Drop a 1 in the comments if you guys operate best under pressure. Some of us are motivated by pleasure. Some of us are motivated by pain. And for whatever reason, for me specifically, I would wait to the very last minute. And what could have been done weeks and weeks ago, and what probably would only take about 4 hours worth of work, will be put off to the last 4 hours before it's due. And this was a kind of a common theme for me throughout college. And a lot of the time, the reason why that's the case is because, again, our minds, it maybe associates, let's just say, that specific task with pain, right? It's like the idea of having to do whatever that micro goal is. It's a little bit daunting. It's painful. And you're just like, you're not wanting to do it. And that's the reason why you wait to the very last minute. The way Parkinson's effect also works is with your money. So think about it. When most of us get a promotion or most of us get a raise, what tends to happen is our expenses go up. And rather than just saving that extra money, we tend to use all of it, right? And it's just the way the mind works. So it is important to have a really good understanding of the way your mind works, because if you do, you can take control over these things. The way Parkinson's effect works in your life, I mean, you can use it for a lot of good. And for example, with the 12-week year, understanding that our mind works best when it has, let's just say, some kind of pain attached to it, that motivating factor kicks in, that dopamine kicks in. And think about this. How many times are you at the end of the year and now all of a sudden you're cranking things up? Think about how many companies, fourth quarter, everybody's trying to meet their targets for the year, or maybe it's a fiscal year and they're trying to reach their targets at the very end. And now you have all of this activity. Meanwhile, all of that activity could have happened all throughout the year, but it's just not the way the brain works. So the best thing that you can do is, again, collapse timeframes and treat your quarters like your years. Okay, so hopefully this is making sense so far. Now, The 12-week year, again, it flips this idea on its head. Instead of thinking in terms of a 12-month year, you treat every 12 weeks as a full year. So every 12 weeks become a year. Your weeks become your quarters, right? And your days become your weeks, okay? That's the idea. And essentially, there's no someday to get things done because now you have a tight deadline. That's the power of it. Also, you focus on a few key priorities instead of spreading yourself too thin. So you just focus on the main things. What tends to happen as well is whenever we're going about our years, we tend to get distracted with a lot of things that aren't necessarily moving the needle in our lives. Even from a business perspective, if it's not a KPI, a key performance indicator, you don't want to get consumed with majoring in the minors. A lot of people are majoring in the minors, and that's why they're not getting ahead, because all of their focus is essentially just on things that aren't necessarily getting the results. Okay, so that's the power of this 12-week year. Now, you also track progress weekly and make adjustments quickly. Now, it's interesting because back in the last quarter of last year, many of you probably have heard me talk about it over the last several weeks, but I went and compressed timeframes. And what normally would take me a year to do, I did in a quarter. So my wife and I launched our company back in October in Las Vegas, and our goal was to reach out to 1,000 people. Now, I can't tell you the last time I've reached out to 1,000 people, even in a single year. It had been years. And we compressed timeframes. So we set a quota and we tracked our progress every single day. Our goal was to simply win the day. Our goal was to go to bed proud of ourselves. And think about it. What would that look like for you? What if you could accomplish today what would take you a week to do? Maybe it's getting a really good workout in. Maybe instead of writing 1 page of that book, you write 10 pages of that book. Maybe instead of writing or reaching out to that one prospect, you reach out to 10 prospects. But what can you do to really stack value? And what tends to happen, which is beautiful, is that as you start to make progress, as you start to check these things off of your list, you start to get this life force that floods you. You start to get a lot more motivation. It's just the way your brain works. Your brain, it has this reward response. Like whenever you accomplish something, there's this reward response where you get this surge of energy. And now you have motivation to do more hard things. So identify what are your big 3. What are your 3 to thrive? What are 3 things that you can do today and you can take massive action with those 3 things? And how can you block out time on your calendar to ensure that you follow through? And then eliminate any distractions. So typically what I do is I delete all my social media throughout the course of the day. I probably do this 2 to 3 times a day. And I do that intentionally so that I'm not getting caught up in doom scrolling. And it has been very effective because for most people, they consume about 2 hours a day on social media. 2 hours a day in an 8-hour workday. I mean, think about that. That's 1/4 of your day. 25% of your day, of your workday, is spent on social media. How much more can you get done if you actually took action on the things that you know you should be doing? So we have time. It's just a matter of prioritizing our time and being very intentional with how we manage our time. Okay, so hopefully this is making sense. I'm sure it is. Okay, so next up, we have key takeaways from the concept of the 12-week year. Number 1, and take notes. Take notes as if you're going to have to teach this one day. As you guys oftentimes hear me say, the weakest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. A great friend of mine would always say, you know, note takers are history makers. So the vast majority of this information, you're probably not going to remember. So my suggestion is make sure that you are taking notes so that you can actually process this. So some of you are probably distracted, like getting ready for work, or maybe you're on the bus and you're commuting, or to the train, or driving through traffic. Don't take notes if you're driving through traffic, by the way, if you're driving at all. But if you're in a safe space to take notes, you could always watch the recording. We're now live streaming, by the way, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So you can pretty much hop over to any of those and catch the recording. Okay, so next, in terms of shorter time frames and creating urgency. So that's number one, shorter time frames and create urgency. When you only have 12 weeks, every day and every week counts. There's no room for wasting time because the deadline is always near. Imagine if you only had 12 weeks to hit your biggest goal. How much harder would you push? That's the mindset shift this system creates. So that's the idea, is to create that sense of urgency. So when I went on that 90-day run, when we launched our business last October, so we had October, November, and January to pretty much reach out to all of these people. And we started late in October, so we actually carried it over a little bit into January. But essentially, what we did was we set our quota. I think we had to reach out to about 12 people a day. And our goal was to do that 5 days out of the week. And then we took 1 day to celebrate. So being that 1 day is a week worth of work, I always recommend taking 1 day of rest, because sometimes when you're taking this much activity, you can burn yourself out. And take 1 day to even celebrate yourself. You could even celebrate yourself at the end of the day if it's a really productive day. And what this does is it associates pleasure with getting results. So the brain is going to naturally push a lot harder with doing harder things. Okay, so that's number one. Shorter time frames create urgency. Number two is focus on less, achieve more. I love the philosophy or the way of living that's referred to as essentialism. And you have minimalism, right, which is basically stripping your life down to the bare minimum. And I've explored what minimalism, but I definitely resonate more with essentialism, because essentialism is just focusing on the things that are truly essential in your life. Once you identify what's important to you, then you can pretty much just make sure that you live your life in such a way that throughout the course of the day, you only engage in things that are in alignment with your North Star. Your North Star being who you want to be, how you want to live. So that's why it is important to be very crystal clear. And as I oftentimes say, clarity of intention is power. So be very crystal clear on what it is that is your objective. Okay, so the idea is, instead of setting 10 different goals for the year, focus on just 2 to 3 key objectives for each 12-week cycle. This allows you to channel all your energy into what matters most. So prime example, if your goal is to save a certain amount of money, then what is the outcome for the week? How much money do you have to save? Be very clear. Even for the day, how much money do you have to save for the day so that you can meet your target at the end of the week? And ask yourself, what are the most important results I need in the next 12 weeks? Okay, what are the most important results I need in the next 12 weeks? If you guys don't mind, drop a comment. If you don't mind, I would love some engagement here, because we need to hold each other to a higher standard. Like, we need that accountability. And sometimes it is really valuable to set those public declarations. So for my wife and I, we set a public declaration. We told people exactly what we were going to do. Why is that? Because it holds you to a higher accountability. You have a lot more accountability when you make that public declaration, and you're a lot more likely to take massive action. Okay? Because you have people watching, and people will do far more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. And sometimes the pain of social judgment is enough to get you to push extra. Okay, so what are the most important results I need in the next 12 months? Right off the top of my head, I can think of a few that come to mind for me. A lot of them are centered around business. Okay, so if you guys don't mind, drop a word business. If in the next 12 weeks, think about whatever it is that's most pressing for you. You can put business if it's business, or career if it's your career, right? You can put health if it's health. But what is it for you? Maybe it's relationship. And how do you quantify relationship? Well, block out time on your calendar for your family. So what I've been doing is I read my kids' bedtime stories. That's been a really great way for me to sort of nurture my family life. And that's what I've been focusing on, making sure that I'm taking time for my kids. And then every Sunday, we shut it all down, right? We do our best not to work on Sundays if possible, right? And that's a major one. So I see you guys have business and career. I see we have business, health, business, love it. Appreciate the engagement. Drop a comment. What is it for you? Is it your health? Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Well, how do you quantify losing 20 pounds in a 12-week period? Well, perhaps it's getting on the treadmill for 1 hour a day, burning a certain amount of calories. Someone shares finance and relaxation. So if finance and relaxation, how do you quantify relaxation? Block out time on your calendar. Be intentional with how you go about your relaxation. Maybe it's getting a massage. I know my good friend Blanca will, she's like patting me on the back. Yeah, Josh, let them know. She does massage therapy. And she's always telling me, every time we talk, you make sure you're getting the massages. And I mean, that's nurturing your self-care. And the thing about it is when you're taking this amount of massive action, you have to be very intentional with how you go about your self-care. I cannot stress this enough. If you're currently in the valley, so right now, for example, like I have all kinds, we're in the middle of a business launch. So we have our growing pains, and in the middle of any business launch, you're going to have all kinds of challenges. So I would say it's safe to say that I am currently in a storm of business. And in life, you guys hear me mention this all the time, that you're either in three phases. You're either in a storm, you're either getting out of a storm, or you're going into a storm. In life, it's just the way it is. The storms are inevitable. Winter is coming. If you haven't basically come into winter yet, right? Like maybe it's a good season. Like I remember when I got started in my entrepreneurial journey, I was very blessed because back in 08, 09, during the Great Recession, a lot of people, they took a major hit in business. And I remember I was studying abroad in Turkey, Greece, Romania, Poland. I was studying internationally for my career. I was on a trajectory to basically get into business, and I was studying international business. So I remember, like, for example, I had to go to shipping ports, and that was part of the curriculum. And we'd go to shipping ports, and I'd see all the ships that were anchored, tons and tons of ships for miles and miles. And the reason why so many were anchored is because the economy was dry. And today I hear tons of stories from my peers who struggled back in 08. I'm not sure how many of you went through a challenging season, but for many people, they were challenged. And fortunately for me, I wasn't in the business world at that time. So I was very blessed. And when I finally got into business, when I was 22 years young, the economy was good. It like everybody was doing good. So it was kind of easy rolling right into business, and I was able to kind of ride the wave. But then in recent years, since the pandemic, it's been challenging for a lot of people. I'm not sure how many of y'all can relate. Anybody can relate that life's been lifing and these bills been billing? These expenses are going up. Right? Drop a Y in the comment if you've been feeling the effects of this economy. I feel that in a few years, everybody's going to be talking about these times. And this is going to be the new 08 and 09 for many of you back in the day. Right? And it's been challenging. It really, really has. And even for us, who you guys probably look at people like myself and like, man, you're successful, you're traveling around the world, you get to homeschool your kids. Listen, it is challenging as hell. It's no joke. Like, I know a lot of people who are struggling. I coach a lot of people. I mean, I lead thousands of people all around the world. I meet with people one-on-one pretty much every single day. And I can tell you right now, if you're thinking it's just you, I just want to ensure you that you're not alone. You're not alone. It's been tough for all of us, even people at the highest level, even for my highly successful friends who are entrepreneurs. Their businesses are struggling, right? And obviously there are also people out there who are thriving. So I don't want to just make your mental model of what we're currently going through, or your paradigm as one of struggle, because there are people who are thriving as well, right? But it is important that while you're in the valley, to ensure that you're always taking care of yourself, because you cannot fill from an empty cup. I mean, what good is $1 billion to a cancer patient, right? Or someone who has to deal with a stroke? I don't know about you all, but when I'm sick, I could just have a slight cold and I don't feel like doing anything. Whenever I'm under the weather, it really affects. It's a liability to get sick in my household. As the sole provider, well, I have my wife, of course, but I'm out here working to pay the bills every single month and provide for my family. And for me getting sick, it is a major liability to my family. So that's why self-care is always important. And for me, a lot of the times it's getting outside and going for a walk. Going for a walk. It doesn't even have to be lifting a bunch of weights or anything. Strength training, of course, it's always going to be good, but it doesn't always have to be, lifting weights and things like that. It could be something as simple as just going for a walk, getting some cardio. Okay, maybe stretching. Everybody should be stretching every single day, but you have to ensure that you take care of you. You are your greatest asset. You are also your most portable asset. You take you everywhere you go. So that's why health is important. And I'm starting to understand this more and more as I get older. And for those of you young folks, I know we have a bunch of young people on the Breakfast Club. If you're in your 20s, listen, do not run your body to the ground. The best thing that you can do right now is take care of your health. You may think you're getting away with eating junk food and living a lifestyle where you can just drink every single day, but you are running your body to the ground. And the way health works is pay me now or pay me later. Invest now in the better quality food. Invest now in your health, because you may think that you're saving money by not investing in your health, but it'll show up later down the road in medical bills. How many of you can relate? How many of you probably were eating junk food, maybe to save money, but then you end up paying later down the road in medical bills? We all know family members like this. So that's why it is important to always keep your health at the forefront. Okay, so while you're in the valley, always make sure that you're taking care of yourself, whatever it is that you're going through. It'll be one of the best things that you can do. Now, number 3 is plan like a pro. So in the book, it emphasizes weekly planning to stay on track. So each week, the idea is to identify the most critical task that will move you forward. So what are they for you? It may be working out. It may be prospecting in your business. It may be doing a work task. Next is you have to schedule specific actions on your calendar. Don't leave it to chance. And this was probably my number one mistake. My number one mistake in quarter one was just leaving my micro goals to chance. And I shoot myself in the foot every single time. Every single time I shoot myself in the foot, because I constantly remind myself, like, all right, Josh, you already know, like, you coach people on this all the time, but you want to make it hard on yourself and you don't schedule it in. So take my word for it. Just schedule it in. Sometimes we think, oh, we got it. I already know what I need to do. No, like, put it on the calendar and then actually set a reminder and look at your calendar as soon as you start the day. And every evening, look at your calendar for what you have to do for the next day. That's how you plan like a pro. And lastly, you want to measure progress using key performance indicators. Okay, so these are your KPIs. Super, super important. Now you have the lag indicators and the lead indicators. So when it comes to KPIs, the KPIs are in the book what's referred to as lead indicators. These are the things that move the needle with whatever results you're looking for. So in your line of work, let's just say you're in the real estate business and you have to make a certain amount of cold calls, or you have to get a certain amount of leads. That's your key performance indicator. Okay, if you're an author and you have to write a certain amount of pages, that is the lead indicator or the micro goal for the day that leads to the lag indicators. So every week you can look back on your week and see the progress that you've made. And that's what you would refer to as the lag indicators. That's the fruits of your labor. Okay. So every single day or every single week, you can take some time and look for those lead and lag indicators. That way, you know whether or not you're on track. Okay. Now, number 4 is keep score. The best way to stay accountable is by tracking progress every week. So in the book, Moran suggests using a simple scoring system. So you list your key actions for the week. Think about whatever it is that are your key actions. Secondly, you give yourself a percentage score based on how many you completed. And there's even apps, like there's an app called Productive. There's so many different apps that you can track your progress. You can set tasks for the day, and you can reflect back on your day and ask yourself, what percentage of these goals did I accomplish? Even if you look back at your week, because remember, your week becomes your quarter for the year. That's the way the 12-week year works. So when you look back on your week, you're actually mentally kind of tricking your brain to look back at the quarter. Okay. Like prime example, if I was reaching out to 1,000 people in a 90-day window with my business, then I know that I'm going to have to reach out to over 300 people a month. Okay. That's just the way it works. So that's how you essentially track. And for me, I literally wrote down every single name. There's so many different ways you can go about tracking it, but have something that you can track your results with. And the goal should be to aim to hit at least 85% completion every single week. And that's kind of liberating, because sometimes we're a bit hard on ourselves. We're like, well, I didn't accomplish all the things that I set out to do. Listen, you're not a robot. We're all human. And the main thing is not to dwell in your guilt. You don't want to sit there and just beat up on yourself, because it doesn't get anything done. Actually look back and give yourself some grace in the event that maybe you didn't accomplish everything that you wanted. It's like right now I have an empty inbox, and I mean, not an empty inbox. I have an inbox with messages that I have to respond to. And it's been challenging for me to get back and respond to all of these messages. But why is that the case? Because I didn't block out the time on my calendar. So quarter 2, and you guys can hold me accountable. I'm making a public declaration. Quarter 2 is to block out time to actually schedule the things that are super important with whatever it is that I have going on. Okay. And the goal should be at least 85% completion. So maybe what your metric is for being proud of yourself at the end of the week, maybe it's, okay, if I can accomplish at least 85% of my micro goals for the week, then I will feel proud of myself. Okay. Number 5 is take ownership of your results. One of the biggest mindset shifts from the book is actually taking full responsibility for your success. No excuses, no waiting on outside circumstances, just daily focused action. That's what it's about. Okay. Now, what tends to happen for a lot of people is they get distracted by, let's just say, phone calls from friends, phone calls from family. My suggestion is schedule those calls in. Don't just take random phone calls throughout the day, because that can deplete your energy, especially if you're talking to a family member or a friend that's a Debbie Downer, a Johnny Raincloud type of person, and they're just energy vampires. You need energy to take this amount of massive action. Okay, so I hope you guys are ready for quarter 2, right? If you're ready to just get a reset and launch quarter 2, maybe quarter 1 wasn't the best. Maybe it didn't go the way you expected. Maybe life was life for you quarter 1. But if you're ready to really take things to the next level in quarter 2, drop a ready in the comments. If you're like, all right, today I'm going to reset. Josh is onto something here, and maybe this is a sign for me to get back on track. And give yourself grace. If you haven't been productive, if you haven't really been making progress for the year, and it's important. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate you guys commenting. And that's the thing, is you have to just make a conscious decision to reset. No matter how many days or weeks or months have gone by, give yourself grace, and you give yourself permission to reset. I love sharing the metaphor of, a shower every day. A shower can be symbolic for something that washes away all the negativity of your life. And to look at all of the water that washes away any dirt or grime or whatever is on your skin, right? When you wash it away and watch it, intentionally watch it go down the drain and allow it to be symbolic in your life for whatever it is that you're going through, allow a shower to be a reset. Allow a shower to be a reset. Imagine if you went about your shower. I mean, most of us never really think about showers like a reset, but imagine if that's your anchor every single day. Like, you know what? Whether you shower in the morning or in the night or both, you can allow yourself to just say, okay, today is a brand new day and I'm starting fresh. Okay. What tends to happen is people kind of like just beat up on themselves because they're not making progress and they wait till the new year to reset. But you could reset every single day. There's no rule. There's no rule book like you got to wait to New Year resolutions to reset. No, give yourself permission. And that's what I love about opening up new quarters. So as we're here, and this ain't no April Fool's joke, y'all, like we're launching into quarter two. We're here. This is not something that we're just, doing for the hell of it. Like this is your life and your life is important and it matters. And it's very precious and it's very fragile. And a lot of people fail to put their life in perspective. Understand that this is the youngest you'll ever be. Maybe you can age backwards if you start taking care of yourself a little better, but you're never going to be this young, like literally in years, right? You'll never be this young. Why would you wait like till you get older? Like take massive action right now. For those of you, like you're probably, some of you are maybe even in your prime. You understand? And maybe you feel like your prime is behind you. But I want to challenge you if you think that your prime is behind you, because honestly, your prime is when you say it's your prime. If you're at your best, then you're at your prime. And that's the biggest thing. Okay, so you can create your prime and decide consciously what that's going to look like for you. I feel like I'm just getting warmed up. Like I've done some incredible things in my life, but I most certainly don't feel like I've hit my prime. I feel like I'm just getting warmed up. Any of y'all feel like you're just getting warmed up? Even if you're in your 50s and 60s, how many of you feel like even if you're in the second half of your life, you're just getting warmed up? You're just getting started. You haven't even reached your peak. You haven't even reached your best. You have people like Colonel Sanders who founded KFC. He was in his 60s when he founded KFC. Do you know how many founders and how many people became billionaires like in their 50s and 60s, some even in their 70s? You have people every day who are accomplishing really incredible things. So don't put a timeline on yourself. Don't feel as if, oh, well, I didn't really take advantage of my 20s and it's already over for me. No, you're just getting warmed up. The rest of your life can very well be the best of your life if you make a conscious decision, if you take action, because faith without works is dead. And you can be faithful in yourself, in your abilities, in your creator, but you have to put in the work. Complement the faith with the work. It's like breathing. Imagine if you are just inhaling. Could you survive with just inhaling? So faith works a lot like that. You have to inhale the faith, but then you exhale the works. That's the way it works. It's a two-way street. It's reciprocity. You inhale faith, you exhale works. That's how it's done. You believe that your creator is going to get you through and bring blessings in your life, but you have to complement it with works. A lot of people, they're simply just not taking enough action. Okay, don't let that be you. So how to apply the 12-week year in your life. So if you want to try this system, here's how to start. First and foremost, pick 2 to 3 big goals for the next 12 weeks. Number 2, break them down into weekly actions that will move you forward. Number 3, schedule those actions on your calendar. If it's not scheduled, it won't happen. Number 4, review your progress weekly and adjust as needed. And that's important because sometimes you have to make course corrections along the way. You may identify your lag indicators and then realize that, okay, well, my lead indicators aren't leading to the lag indicators that I want, and I need to make some adjustments. So those micro goals, if they're not producing good fruit, you may have to make some adjustments. And lastly, number 5 is repeat the cycle after 12 weeks. So you celebrate wins, you learn from the losses, and set new goals. And maybe the goal is to continue what you're doing. Maybe you're making major progress. But that's the 5-step system when it comes to the 12-week year. Number 1, pick 2 to 3 big goals. Number 2, break them down into weekly actions. Number 3, schedule those actions on your calendar. Number 4, review your progress weekly. And number 5, repeat the cycle after 12 weeks. Okay, so I wanted to share, by the way, I'm hosting a masterclass. I'm really excited. I mentioned this to you guys last week, but I'm actually hosting a masterclass. We have tons of people who they love the Breakfast Club. I have people all the time. They're like, Josh, I'm inspired by what it is that you do with coaching, and maybe you have a specific advice or expertise or whatever the case may be. But I'm actually going to be hosting a masterclass, and I'm really excited because with this masterclass, I'm going to be covering how to run a profitable coaching business. And this, I want to show you guys the flyer really quick as we pull it up. I think you guys should be able to see this. So this is going to be 6 p.m. tonight. I'm going to share my registration link, by the way. That way you guys can have it. So you may be able to register if you click the registration link. I also sent an email, but I'm super excited for this masterclass because you guys will be able to learn. Even if you just want to play a fly in the wall, it is all good because you can play a fly in the wall and be able to listen. And I'm going to be sharing exactly how I've gone about building, my career with my specific expertise. So we all have different expertise, and for you probably have a specific career and you want to monetize your message. Maybe you want to get paid as a speaker. You want to get paid as a coach on top of what you already do. So it is important. You guys hear me talk about building your brand. Your brand is going to be one of your most valuable assets in today's economy. You have to constantly build your brand. So I'll be sharing a lot of that, how I've gone about building my brand over the years, how I've gone about coaching. Some of you may have pondered the idea, but just didn't know how to go about it. So jump on. I'm going to do my best to have a recording just in case you can't be on at 6 p.m. So just stay tuned for that. Okay. So I'll be sharing the registration throughout my social media platforms today. So no worries if you don't see it at the moment. I'll be having it up later. Just hop on my social media. You'll see it in my stories. You'll see it everywhere else. Okay. Now, another thing that I wanted to do was as we're getting ready to kick off Q2 of 2025, I want to go back to the basics. So for those of you who followed my work for a long time, we have the 21 to-dos. And the 21 to-dos are from the 21 days to transformation. And they're basically 21 to-dos on things that you can do essentially every single day for 21 days. And these things, if you just do the vast majority of them, I can assure you your life will be drastically better. Drastically better. They're the 21 to-dos. And super, super valuable for those who are looking for a reset. And maybe you're looking for a reset, but you just don't really know how to go about the reset. So the 21 to-dos are a great way to reset your entire life holistically. So you guys hear me talk about the 5 F's pretty much almost every week. And the 5 F's are a great way to sort of compartmentalize your life and holistically improve your life. And the 5 F's are your faith, your fitness, your family, your fortune, and your fun. Simple as that. So when it comes to fitness, I always have to emphasize that it's mental, emotional, and physical fitness. When it comes to your fun, it's your lifestyle. That's even your rest, right? Things that are fun for you, that you love doing, things, your hobbies, things like that. But that's how the 5 F's work, is you put consciousness and attention and focus into all of those different areas of your life. And that's essentially what the 21 to-dos are doing. So super valuable. And I wanted to see if I can actually share the 21 to-dos. What I'll do is I'll put it in the comment thread for you guys. And on the comment thread, you'll be able to essentially see the 21 to-dos on there. And they're super, super powerful, guys. Let me see. I think this is it right here, actually. So hopefully you guys can see these 21 to-dos. You can screenshot it, put it in your stories on your social media if you don't mind. Screenshot it, post up the 21 to-dos. But these are 21 things that you can do over the next 21 days to absolutely transform your life. And if you're on board, if you're open to experimenting with it, drop a Y in the comments. If you're open to experimenting with it. Basically, I'll just kind of summarize it. For those of you who are tuning into the podcast, maybe you can't see this, but I'll summarize it for you. The 21 to-dos are 21 things that you can do over the next 21 days to improve your life. And this is always super popular. And we do our best to have this a few times throughout the course of the year to help people with their reset. So I see we have some Y's coming in. I hope you guys are really about this life because it's going to push you. Okay, so here are the 21 to-dos. Number 1, get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. Again, it's the well-being of your whole being. So you have to take care of yourself. So that's the first thing. Get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. Some of y'all are like, Josh, it's impossible for me to get 7 hours of sleep. Well, if you got to get 5 and then get 2 later on in the day, however, you got to work it out, because the quality of your sleep is also going to determine the quality of your emotions that you feel. And your emotions are everything in life. Okay, so you get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. Number 2, wake up an hour earlier with no snooze. Now, some of you are like, well, that's counterintuitive, right? If I'm getting 7 hours of sleep and I have to wake up an hour earlier, I'm definitely not going to get 7 hours of sleep. Listen, even if it's 30 minutes earlier, the idea is to wake up a little bit earlier so that you can get more done with your day. And if you have to go to bed earlier, parent yourself for a season. My suggestion is right before you go to bed, make sure that you're not eating right before you go to bed. Give yourself at least 2 hours to digest your food. Also, make sure you're not looking at screens an hour before you're going to bed. If you have to, read a book, paperback, that's typically the best approach. But do your best to not be watching screens or not stimulating yourself through social media and things like that, okay? But wake up with no snooze. Why no snooze? Because you're telling yourself, you're telling the world, I am ready to kick ass and take names. I am ready to go. I am ready for life when you don't snooze. And when you snooze subconsciously, you're telling yourself, I do not want to get up. I am not ready to take on the world. So do your best to not snooze for 21 days. I can assure you that it will 100% make a difference. Number 3, no social media the first and last hour of the day. Super good. And it will improve your mental health. Social media and mental health, look up the studies. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Number 4 is meditation and prayer. Now, whatever your religion, spirituality practices, whatever's your thing, integrate some form of meditation or prayer. I always look at meditation as, or prayer as speaking to God, meditation as listening to God. So however that looks for you, integrate some form of that. Number 5 is affirmations. And affirmations are just words of encouragement throughout the course of the 21 days. Maybe you can have an affirmation that you repeat to yourself to just empower yourself. But words have power. Number 6 is journaling and or some kind of a workbook that you have, but some form of journaling. You can take time to just journal, and it's also really good for your mental health, and it's good for reducing anxiety. So whatever it is that you're going through and you want to process your emotions, journaling absolutely helps with that. And even if you have to journal by writing in your notepad or texting it on your phone, you could also take that approach. Number 7 is go over your calendar for 21 days. Right before you go to bed, it can be at least an hour before you go to bed. And then right as soon as you wake up, you're going over your calendar. Okay, and maybe you're updating your calendar as well. Number 8, diet and exercise. And whatever that's got to look like for you. We all have different diets. We all have different exercise regimens. Number 9 is dress your best. Dress your best. Isn't it true that you always feel a lot better about yourself when you dress your best? All of us do. So that's my suggestion, is dress your best. You'll notice a significant difference as well. Give up a vice That's typically a tough one. And your vice may be social media, your vice may be alcohol, your vice may be starch or whatever, but something that has been a vice in your life or an addiction, do your best to give it up for 21 days and see how it works. I did a fast to open up the year. We typically do it with our church, and the fast always is absolutely powerful. And we give up a vice. Number 11, no gossiping, complaining, or excuses for 21 days. Number 12, 1 hour of dream building. So this is your key performance indicators or your KPIs, your income producing activity, whatever your dream is. Spend at least an hour a day with it and schedule it in. Number 13 is learn something new. Learn something new. Number 14 is read a book. 10 pages a day is ideal, or you can just listen to an audiobook. Maybe the 12-week year is the book that you read in this season. That can be a really great book. Number 15 is tidy up. Clean your space. A cluttered home is a cluttered mind. A cluttered mind is a cluttered life. So it is always important to make sure that you declutter and clean up your home. I just did this the other day. It was like, I need a reset. Number 16 is compliment or encourage someone. That could be a phone call. That can be a stranger in the street. But compliment or encourage someone. It'll make you feel better. You'll be amazed at how good you feel. Number 17 is check on someone you love, at least weekly, right? You could take time at least once a day, schedule it in, and check in on someone that you love. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. Okay. Number 18 is a day of rest. So this is going to be done at least once a week. Okay. In these 21 days, it's a day of rest. Number 19 is give away 10% of your overall income. Some of y'all are like, well, Josh, my goal is to save more money. Listen, just trust in it. Trust in it for a season. Give away 10% of your overall income. And there's just something about that. I'm not telling you who to give it to or what to give it to, but give it to someone or some organization that you don't expect to receive something. Like, don't say, oh, I'm only going to give this because this person is going to pay me back, or it's going to, like, have the expectation that God will bless you tenfold, right? And it's biblical. So save 10%, give away 10%, but also save 10% of your income. That's the next one. And these are great foundational wealth principles. And 21, last but not least, is do something you love for fun. Do something you love for fun. And the goal is not to be perfect with these. The goal really, more than anything, is just to do your best. Do your best. And if you can accomplish, let's say 85% of these, then you're really doing amazing. But give it a shot. Maybe you try a handful of them for a season and see how it works in your life. Okay, so yes, that is the 21 Days to Transformation Challenge. Okay, so if you guys are in, I see we have the Ys that came in. Let us know that you're in. And as we get ready to wrap up with today's Breakfast Club, by the way, if you got value, drop a V for value, or just write the word value. It's always reassuring that I know that you guys, this content is sticking with you all. And if you've been getting value from today's session, definitely drop a comment. Let us know. It's always greatly appreciated. Awesome, awesome. And again, you're more than welcome to like, comment, share, tag, even subscribe. It most certainly helps continue this work. All right. So as I get ready to wrap up, remember, the 12-week year is an absolute game changer when it comes to your productivity, but only if you commit to it. If you're tired of setting goals and not following through, what do you have to lose? Give it a try. Give it a try. If you've never tried it before, sometimes you have to do different in order to get different. Some of you have been looking for a sign. Maybe this is your sign. You know what? Let me just try this out. And you could always go on YouTube, look up more explanations and read the book and all of that just to get a little bit more information. Maybe what you do to kick off the 12-week year is to do the 21 to-dos. Now, why is it 21? Some of you are probably wondering, well, why isn't it 12 weeks? That's a lot of things to commit to. You understand? However, 21 days is typically enough time to kind of make something a habitual part of your lifestyle. So it's very challenging to kind of make things a new habit if you're not integrating them at least 21 days. So the science states that it's anywhere from 21 to about 67 days of doing something repetitively before it becomes a habit in your life. So that's why it's 21 days. Any one of those things, right? Doing it and blocking out time on your calendar for those things, but also understand that when it comes to the 12-week year, those things are just holistic wellness, right? You have to identify what are the most pressing goals in your life. What's a must? What do you have to accomplish? And just identify 2 or 3 of them and put all of your focus on that. The 21 to-dos is more lifestyle. It's how you live your life. But with the 12-week year, it's focusing on that macro vision, if that makes sense. Okay? So what's your next big goal? And what can you accomplish in the next 12 weeks, or let alone today? What can you accomplish today? So as we recap one last time, again, these are the key takeaways from this concept. Number 1, the 12-week year allows shorter time frames and it creates urgency. And you focus on less and achieve more, which is number 2. Number 3, you plan like a pro. Number 4, you keep score. And number 5, you take ownership of your results. So what is your big goal and what are you going to do today to make it happen? Block out time in your calendar, eliminate distractions, get in your zone. And I can assure you 12 weeks from now, your life is going to look a lot different. So ladies and gentlemen, breakfast is officially served. If you got value from this, drop a comment. Also, again, we have the masterclass happening at 6 p.m. Even if you never considered monetizing your message or getting paid for your expertise, and hop on anyway. I'm sure you'll get value. And you guys will go on my social media. You'll get all the links and everything like that. If for whatever reason you don't see the links, you could always just comment the word coach in my inbox. I'm pretty responsive. And comment the word coach, and I'll be more than happy to send you even my Calendly link for those of you who are ready for a reset, right? And you just need to have that one-on-one time to reset whatever it is that you have going on. Maybe you haven't booked a coaching session with me in a while. Hit me up. I'll be more than happy to connect with you throughout the course of the next week or two, and we can help you take things to the next level. So take care. God bless. Breakfast is officially served. I'll be seeing you guys next week. Welcome to quarter 2 of 2025. Let's make it happen, guys.